Almost all of the main characters of Star Trek, Section 31 have special abilities of some kind. Section 31 centers on Michelle Yeoh's return as Philippa Georgiou, who debuted in Star Trek Discovery as the ruthless emperor of the Mirror Universe's Terran Empire. In Discovery Season 3, the Guardian of Forever, Paul Guilfoyle, sent Georgiou back in time to the early 24th century where she runs a nightclub beyond the United Federation of Planets. This is where Alok Sahar, Omari Hardwick, and his Section 31 team find Georgiou, as they search for information regarding a dangerous new weapon called the Godsend. Alok recruits Emperor Georgiou to help acquire the Godsend and introduces her to the members of his Section 31 Alpha team. Besides Lieutenant Rachel Garrett, Casey Roll, Section 31's operatives possess unique talents and abilities. As the Section 31 team races to prevent the Godsend from being used against the Federation, Georgiou must confront the horrors of her past and the actions of the evil tyrant she once was. In the end, Georgiou finds a place among the eclectic group of Section 31 agents. Unfortunately, not every member of Alok's team makes it out of the mission alive, proving that their enhanced abilities only get them so far. 6. Alok Sahar, Omari Hardwick. A genetically enhanced human. Soon after Emperor Georgiou joins up with Alok Sahar, she demands to know more about the enigmatic leader of Section 31's Alpha team. As Georgiou presses him, Alok reveals that he was born on 20th century Earth and lived during the eugenics wars. First mentioned in Star Trek, the original series, the eugenics wars broke out after genetically enhanced superhumans, or augments, like Khan Noonien Sung, Ricardo Morn-Albin, became tyrants. Alok reveals that he fought against the augments, but his fighting skills impressed one of the augment leaders named Giri the Marked. Giri turned Alok into an augment and forced him to fight alongside her. At some point, Alok was put into cryosleep and awoke centuries later, which is how he ended up in the 24th century. Although Star Trek, Section 31 does not spell out Alok's abilities, he presumably has enhanced strength, speed, and stamina like other augments that have popped up throughout Star Trek's timeline. Alok proves himself to be a quick thinker in Section 31, as well as a skilled fighter, but never shows the full extent of his augment abilities. 5. Quasi, Sam Richardson. A shape-shifting Cameloid. First introduced in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, Cameloids have the ability to shapeshift into nearly any form. This ability would surely prove invaluable to a covert organization like Section 31, and Quasi's ability has likely proved useful on numerous missions. In Alpha Team's initial plan to acquire the Godsend, Quasi was going to shift into the form of Emperor Georgiou. This becomes unnecessary, however, when the team brings the real Georgiou in on their plans. From that point on, Quasi does not get much chance to use his shape-shifting ability to transform into other people. When Alok gets thrown from a high-speed platform while pursuing the mole, Quasi shapeshift to create a web to catch Alok. It's Quasi's intellect that plays more of a role in Section 31, as well as his ability to skillfully pilot an abandoned garbage scow in the film's final space battle. Quasi does shift into Alok near the end of Section 31, but only in an attempt to fool Georgiou, who immediately sees through the disguise. 4. Zeph, Robert Kaczynski. Cybernetic human with mechanical exoskeleton. Zeph may not be the brightest of the Section 31 bunch, but his mechanized suit makes him incredibly strong and durable. Zeph is so obsessed with his suit that he has integrated cybernetic implants into his body and never removes his exoskeleton. Not only does the suit protect Zeph from physical attacks and weapons fire, but it also has numerous weapons of its own. Even without the suit's weapons, a single punch from Zeph would be enough to knock out most attackers. Zeph has no problem subduing weapons dealer Dada Nu, Joe Ping, with a single blow, and he later crashes through numerous walls in pursuit of a masked assailant, later revealed to be Georgiou's former lover San, James Hiroyuki Liao. Unfortunately, the mechanisms within Zeph's suit can be vulnerable to hacking and manipulation. Working with San, the microscopic nanokin, Fuzz, Sven Rugruk, betrays his team by flying into Zeph's suit and turning it against him. Fuzz kills Zeph with his own suit and then later reanimates the suit to help cover his escape. 3. Mel, Humberly Gonzalez. A member of the Deltan species. As a Deltan, Mel can manipulate the desires of those around her, using her powers of seduction as a distraction. Although Deltans have appeared in the background of various Star Trek series and movies, much about the species remains unknown. Star Trek, the motion picture's Lieutenant Ilia, Persis Kambata, served as the introduction to the species, but she had sworn an oath of celibacy in order to join Starfleet. Although most species were susceptible to the Deltans' abilities, Cameloids were immune to their charms. When Alok and his team infiltrate Georgiou's nightclub, the Baram, Mel is seated at the bar with Quasi. Mel briefly uses her abilities on Fuzz when he gets upset, but she ultimately doesn't get enough screen time to become a fully realized character or fully display her powers. When San breaks into the nightclub to steal the godsend, Mel engages him in a fight and attempts to use her abilities on him. In the tussle, San fires his phaser at Mel, vaporizing her and bringing an abrupt end to a character with a lot of potential.